We have breaking news this evening. Our stations received several calls telling us people are being evacuated because of a possible gas leak. El Paso Fire Department told us that 15 firefighters are on the scene along with Texas Gas Service to a business in the 7600 block of Alameda. The details are limited at this point, but we'll bring you more at 10. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Adrian Alvarez. Kagan Harsha is on assignment. The El Paso Police Department has solved an 18-year-old violent cold case. News Channel 9's Kathy Hernandez has more on how he was caught.
After 18 years, police have the man they say violently attacked a woman in her central El Paso home back in 1994. Police say Raymond Herrera was 19 at the time when he broke into the home. They say he sexually assaulted a 21-year-old woman, hit her in the head with a blunt object, and ran away. In November of last year, the case was reopened when a retired police detective told police about a similar case in Austin. Investigators determined they were unrelated, but they continued to look into the case and ultimately issued a warrant for criminal attempted capital murder for Herrera.
It's a criminal attempted murder. In other words, the victim nearly died, but clearly the intent was to kill the victim. We had physical evidence from the initial forensic examination. That's what we had, and then unfortunately in this case it was appropriately stored, so it was still usable.
Federal authorities took the 37-year-old into custody in Las Vegas. They brought him back to El Paso and booked him into the county jail this past weekend. Herrera is being held in jail without bond. In the newsroom, Kathy Hernandez, News Channel 9.
And police are not yet releasing Herrera's mugshot. Former El Paso County Commissioner Willie Gondara Jr. will be learning how long he'll spend behind bars tomorrow. Gondara pleaded guilty back in July to conspiracy to distribute marijuana and establishment of manufacturing operations to distribute marijuana. Gondara has been free since his plea and admitted to dealing nearly 124 pounds of marijuana from his property. DEA agents monitored Gondara for several months and had him on tape talking about the operation. His sentencing scheduled in federal court for tomorrow afternoon. You can count on News Channel 9 to bring you the latest information. A stabbing from over the weekend has led to two attempted murder charges. Police say 50-year-old Robert Jesse Wallace and 40-year-old Ramon Garcia were in a fight with the 27-year-old victim, Juan Valverde, at the Alameda bar early Sunday morning. Valverde was stabbed multiple times and was taken to the University Medical Center. Wallace and Garcia are both being held under $100,000 bonds. A routine traffic stop led to the arrest of a driver who was in possession of marijuana and cocaine. Francisco Javier Juarez was stopped at the 1500 block of San Antonio and San Elizario. Sheriff's deputies found plastic baggies of marijuana in the bed of his truck, and a clear baggie of what appeared to be cocaine was found inside the truck as well. Juarez was booked into the detention facility yesterday night. Well, top Texas Republicans are calling for some legal changes to the state's welfare and unemployment benefits programs. Governor Rick Perry and Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst want to require mandatory drug screenings for applicants. Perry and Dewhurst are supporting the pre-filed bill that would authorize drug screenings for high-risk temporary assistance for needy families and unemployment insurance benefits applicants. Texas Senator Jay Nelson of Flower Mound filed Senate Bill 11 yesterday.
This will help prevent tax dollars from going into the pockets of drug abusers or drug dealers, and instead ensure this money goes to the people who truly need it. Every dollar that goes to someone who uses it inappropriately is a dollar that can't go to a Texan who needs it for housing, for child care, or for medicine.
A number of other Texas lawmakers, including Representative Lon Burnham of Fort Worth, opposed the bill. Burnham says when the state of Florida instituted a similar program, it ended up costing taxpayers more than it saved. Four Latin American leaders say the decision by Colorado and Washington in regard to marijuana laws will have a major effect on international efforts to fight drug smuggling. Mexico, Belize, Honduras, and Costa Rica called for the states to study the impact of the decision by voters in Colorado and Washington to legalize marijuana. Mexico has seen tens of thousands of people killed over the last 6 years as part of the government's attempt to destroy the country's drug cartels. Now let's take a quick look at our forecast. Been jacket and scarf weather lately, but how long will it stick around? Chief Meteorologist Chuck DeBroder joins us with some of those answers.
Well, it'll stick around temperature-wise for very chilly overnights for one more night tonight, and then we'll begin an improvement. Part of the reason, some dry air. The main reason, a ridge of high pressure will keep our skies clear and keep us kind of cool in the mornings, but warmer in the afternoons. Freezing in Las Cruces this morning, 37 El Paso, 27 the cold morning start with a high of 63 in Deming, also 63 in Juarez, El Paso, 61 in Las Cruces. 37 the overnight low. We'll talk about a week's worth of weather and a warm-up coming up.
All right, thank you, Chuck. Well, gas prices typically fall during this time of year. According to the latest numbers, gas prices have increased by more than 3 cents a gallon here in El Paso. And our East Coast neighbors are seeing a higher increase because of Superstorm Sandy. News Channel 9's Carrie Seed reports.
Driving through El Paso will cost you an average of $3.35 per gallon.
I don't really think they've really gone that much up or down either way.
And we have it. According to GasBuddy.com, the Sun City's price per gallon has increased by just a little more than 3 cents.
Still overpriced considering we're the highest in the state of Texas. I mean, that doesn't sound too good for our local economy.
Locally speaking, we're higher than Las Cruces. New Mexico gas prices average out to be 4 cents cheaper than El Paso. But both cities' price at the pump fare better than that of the East Coast.
When it hits like the $4 for something plus mark, then that's when I'll really start to get concerned.
It has already hit the $4 mark in New York and New Jersey, where gas rationing has just ended for the Garden State. And rebuilding after Superstorm Sandy has only just begun.
We are cold and we are tired and we want our power now.
Putting not only gas prices, but everything else in perspective here in the borderlands.
Sorry for those people that are having a lot of difficulties, with gas, and not only gas but power. I'm kind of grateful that I'm here, actually.
In El Paso, Carrie Seed, News Channel 9.
All right, thank you. Well, 28 El Pasoans, part of El Paso Electric, have returned home after assisting victims of Sandy. The workers who volunteered to go headed to New York on November 2nd and stayed there for about 2 weeks. News Channel 9 was there when they arrived home earlier today, and we asked why this experience was so important to them.
Self-satisfaction, I guess. It's a boost for everybody. Our company. We appreciate it that they send us out there first and foremost. And the experience, I've gone to several. I've gone to Katrina, and this is my second. Some of my fellow workers have gone to Florida also. So anytime they ask us, we step up.
The EPE crew helped restore power to approximately 3.3 million customers. Well, ever heard the expression battle tested? That's just not good enough for the Army. New technology is put to the test before it reaches the battlefield, and some of that new technology is tested right on our doorstep at Fort Bliss and White Sands. News Channel 9's Chip Maxim has more.
It's like a giant game of laser tag with a bunch of computer stuff.
Since June of last year, the Army has been working on improving battlefield communications with realistic simulations at Fort Bliss and White Sands.
If you look at current operations in Afghanistan, they look very similar to the physical geographic environment that we find here at White Sands and northern Fort Bliss.
These simulations are part of the Army's Network Integration Evaluations, or NIEs. It's vital that every soldier has the best possible information without hassles.
Not only integrate things to make sure they function properly, but also get them into the hands of soldiers to make sure they do what soldiers need them to do.
One tool being tested now is Net Warrior, which is a cell phone loaded with maps showing real-time locations of other soldiers and the enemy.
In the environment and you're spread out, it'll help you keep a better idea, better track of where your soldiers are at. You can communicate with them without having to get on the radio.
Something Staff Sergeant Turner says could have been useful during his time in Iraq.
How did you always know where everybody else was at any time?
Constant radio communication, and constantly be asking them on the radio where you're at, what's your location, what's going on right there.
To check the Net Warrior, it's just a simple flip.
Now when they want to tell you something, what does it buzz? Does it beep? No, it does not. There's no audible tone that you can hear because we don't want to be compromised in our high positions or anything else.
These soldiers are getting an opportunity to look at what's coming and an opportunity to improve it.
This unit definitely gives you you an ability to see where the Army's going as a whole, and to see these future systems and how they, and having a hand in making them better for the soldiers on the ground.
Chip Maxim, News Channel 9.
The technology the Army's testing right now could be in use in the battlefield in less than a year. Well, we still have much more coming up ahead on News Channel 9 at 6. There's an Eastern influence here in the borderland. We'll explain why. Plus, the local El Pasoans made it to jeopardy. News Channel 9's Russ Pappas will join us with the details.